Attempted bomb attacks come in the final stretch of what has been a highly contentious election season, nearly 2 years after the 2016 election. Both parties continue fighting about race and about gender. We've also seen allegations of voter suppression targeting African American voters.
In the last few weeks, groups like Antifa and Proud Boys were accused of wreaking havoc. And we still have a couple of weeks until Election Day. Joining us to talk about the intense state of politics right now, we have Charlie Kirk, founder and president of Turning Point USA, and Candace Owens, Turning Point's communications director. They're in Washington to meet with the president. Welcome to you two. Can I just first ask, what is this event, and what are we going to be seeing the next couple of days here in D.C.?
You know, we had received so much interest over a period of time in this sort of youth Black conservative movement, and it felt like we really wanted to harness the power and the opportunity and invite everyone to D.C., first and foremost, to bring them to conservative ideas. A major hurdle that the Black community faces is not having the resources to get to different ideas and sort of being locked inside of a bubble. And having them listen to speakers that they perhaps haven't heard before, Dr. Ben Carson, Larry Elder, people who are routinely mocked in our community. So this is the first ever opportunity to do that in D.C., and we're really excited that it's happening this weekend. In the past, the conversation was almost so intellectual that it was hard for people to digest and process and to understand. And because the left had won the culture war, it was easy for them to mock them, you know, to see a skit where perhaps Dr. Ben Carson or Dr. Condoleezza Rice are being mocked. And I think I'm a little more of a fighter, definitely in terms of starting my channel on YouTube and wanting it to be colloquial and wanting it to feel familiar, like you were talking to your brother and sister, and sort of taking back some of the turf that was lost on the culture war by making fun of people on the left in the same way that they make fun of us. I think that sort of helped bridge the gap and make people more interested in having the discussion.
Does it bother you that there's no prominent African Americans in the White House?
We have to stop believing in this illusion that because somebody is Black, they represent my interests. We learned that lesson via Barack Obama. I mean, he was in the White House for 8 years and didn't do much for the Black community. So I'm not interested in the color of people's skin. So I'm interested in what they do and what they accomplish.
I'm really interested in your perspective here.
Yeah.
So to you, having, like, you don't look at, you know, it is an administration that has more white men than past administrations have had.
Yeah,
but that doesn't bother you. You don't think that diversity is important?
No, not at all. I think that we have to stop believing that diversity is the color of people's skin, because if you have, like, the Black Caucus, for example, which didn't stand up and applaud when Trump announced that we had the lowest ever unemployment in the Black community, that's concerning to me. So a big part of the conversation that we open is in making people understand that that's an illusion that the left has sold, that somehow because somebody matches my skin color, because somebody matches my gender, they have my best interests at heart. When I was asked that question of who I admire, I said Kanye West, because he's always been, long before Donald Trump came down the escalator, it was Kanye West that's been the battering ram against political correctness. And I knew that someone with his personality wasn't going to be able to exist comfortably on the left anymore, because we are now being told what to think, how we have to think, who we have to love, who we have to hate. And that's not comfortable for anybody that's an artist. And their stranglehold on culture is really what Kanye is sort of taking a stab at. Now, I want to be clear, based off of my conversations with him, he's not a Republican, you know, and I think that that's an important thing to distinguish and to make clear, distinction to make, because in many ways I've said I'm not a Republican either, but he is a free thinker and he values ideas. And unfortunately, if you believe in the ability to think and to have a dialogue, that is a position that's on the right today.
So Candace, I do want to ask you about news of the day. Obviously, we have all these explosive devices that have been sent to prominent critics of this administration.
Right.
And in a tweet, you originally said you thought there was zero chance conservatives sent bombs. I think you took that tweet down.
Yeah.
But you later added, it isn't conservatives that are chasing people down in offices and restaurants. It isn't conservatives that have weaponized sexual assault as a means to political gain. I stand by my opinion that when it comes to political violence, the left is the likely culprit.
That's correct. So we've seen that.
So you think that it was the left or Democrats who sent
well,
these pipe bombs?
I think we're all entitled to have an opinion. We don't have any facts surrounding this, and Twitter is a venue where you're allowed to express your opinions and beliefs. And
but just to be clear, so that's not based on any facts. That's just your
Of course, it couldn't possibly be based on facts. We don't have any evidence other than the fact that they're investigating it. But
I'll come to Candace's.
I do want to finish this by just saying that It is my belief, when you take a look at the conversation, the things that have gone on and the increasing violence that's gone on, it has purely been a leftist tactic to stall things, delay the administration, and to fearmonger. So as a matter of opinion, I do believe that when we get to the resolution, the bottom of this, and we do have facts, we're going to say that this is orchestrated by the left, but by no means is that opinion rooted in any proof, because we don't have anything yet to go off of.
I could certainly point to Charlottesville. I could point to other acts that happen. I could point to Dylan Roof. I mean, there's certainly acts of violence that have come from
not a conservative.
But do you see how far back you have to go to do that?
To Charlottesville?
Yeah, that's literally starting at the beginning of his administration. Look at all of the things that have gone on.
I don't want to have this debate, because ugliness can come from both sides.
No, I'm just saying that you brought it up.
But I do want to ask you, though.
I'm just answering the question.
I mean, you've got a big platform.
I do.
Right? And you have a powerful voice.
Thank you.
And kudos to you for creating that.
Thank you.
How do you view the responsibility that comes with that?
I view the responsibility of just being a person that maintains my ability to have an opinion, that I express an opinion, and no means that I say that I have just found the facts and this is related.
Yeah.
And I always reserve the right.
You said there's 0% chance.
Yeah. I said I'm going to go out and say that there is a 0% chance that this was sent by conservatives. I find all the things that are going on, the caravan of illegals, the packages that are being sent, Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation.
And just to clarify, you think the caravan too was organized by Democrats?
I find it to be incredibly suspicious timing to know that they are meant to get to the border on the day of the election. Again, this is not rooted in fact, but you do have to understand I am very much entitled to my opinion, and Twitter is my platform.
Candace, I have one more.
Just one more here, because I wanted to get to know you before you came on.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested in your perspective, because
sure.
I think you're a fascinating person.
Thank you.
There was another tweet that said the Democratic Party is comprised of racist white liberals.
That is correct.
Am I a racist white liberal?
Well, let's go back and let's say, I will say this, that many people in the party are not aware of their own racism. Let's go back to an early part of this conversation where you said to me, are you concerned about the color in the White House? Why would you ask me that question?
Because you speak about black issues.
No, but why would you ask me? But let's get to really the nucleus of this. Why did you ask me that question today?
Because
why did you feel that I needed to be concerned about that?
Because you're bringing a whole group of young African American leaders to the White House.
Okay, so this is something that I talk about often, is that in many ways, what liberals don't realize that you put on that, the racism and the conversations that we have.
So you're saying I'm a racist?
You haven't let me finish my statement. You keep cutting me off.
Go ahead.
Okay, the emphasis that you place is always on having a discussion about race. Okay, you guys are insistent on having a conversation about race and telling us that we should see, and implying that we should see race everywhere, and I don't agree with that. If you don't look at me according to the color of my skin, you would simply ask me how I thought that Trump was doing as a president. But instead, you try to drum up a conversation that's surrounded by race by asking me, are there enough black people in the White House?
You're bringing a whole group of young black leaders to the White House.
Color,
so clearly
I don't.
That's something that's important to you.
But why are you talking about?
Then why make it that you're going to bring young black leaders to the White House? I mean, this is sort of absurd.
Because the media,
this is absurd. You're bringing this group to the White House.
It's not absurd. I'm making perfect sense. You're just not following the logic.
I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear.
I'm trying to be extremely clear with you.
I know.
Bringing the black conservatives to the White House.
But you view me as a racist white liberal.
I think that you're not. First off, you put those words in my mouth, and you keep saying it.
So I'm not.
I said that the Democrat Party is comprised of racist white liberals. Is every person in the party racist? No, but you're not aware of the fact that you put these racist tones out into the media. This is why we have to bring the black conservatives to the president, because you create a narrative when you're on TV like you did today.
Are you comfortable with? I'm going to have you on radio later, because I have questions for you as well. But we actually have to get out of the segment now.
Language is helpful, though. I mean, just in terms of the national conversation.
I could ask you, do you think it's helpful to ask me, just because I'm a black woman, if I'm comfortable with the amount of color that's on the administration? Do you think that that's helpful?
I think it's helpful and interesting to know your perspective.
It's not. It's you just trying to create an undertone that Donald Trump is racist, and it's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
That to me is the reason why.
Listen, no.
I just want to say.
You're looking at me on the basis of my skin color and making a bunch of, and making a bunch of deductions.
I
did not. You said that, and we can run the tape back.
I want to say,
said that.
Here's what I want to say.
You quoted a tweet, and then you made it about you.
I appreciate.
So you were not added, but you were not added in that tweet. So do not say that I called you that, because that's dishonest. And we are on, TV. So you can run. Okay, so I did not call you a racist. You're using the typical leftist tactic of trying to make yourself a victim, which is not something that I will accept.
No, but we're actually well beyond time.
Well, she's making herself a victim and pretending that I came here and called her a racist. So this is a typical leftist tactic.
That we not demonize our opponents.
And I think it's important that you not demonize my president.
And one thing that I try very hard to do is to criticize the policies and criticize people who are in positions of power.
And I'm not sure how you were doing that by pointing out the color in the administration.
But not to criticize the people who support the president.
You literally spoke
That's
about
something I
skin
try
color,
very hard to do.
but you're not doing a very good job of it.
And I think it's really important.
I think it's really important that you be aware that just because I'm a black woman, you don't need to ask me a question as basic enough as saying how much color is in the administration.
It's a problem to demonize our fellow
I
Americans?
think what's problematic is that you are creating a simulation that is dishonest, that is accusing our president of being racist based off of the color of the people that are in the. That's exactly what you asked me a question. That's what you implied.
Okay, I actually really appreciate you two coming in very much, and I look forward to getting to ask you some questions of my own at some point later on. And we're going to have to end the segment there. But thank you, and good luck at the White House today, and thank you for bringing young African American leaders into D.C.
Thank
you.
you.
Maybe I'll see you guys later on there. The devices sent all over the country have brought up an interesting question. Will the rhetoric on either side actually cool off? NBC's Megyn Kelly, had a pretty major misstep this week. Is her job in peril? Should it be?
Now, I use my iPhone all the time, but I'm not the president. New reporting on Trump's unsecure cell phone and who might be listening in. Team Rising is in next to talk about all of that.